Every once in a while, have you ever encountered something where like something fundamental keeps showing up in different form, or there's something like a almost like a rule or a principle? Does it ever come about? Because in science, we think of this as like reveals something about our limitation to abstract the world. I hope I made that clear.
Not exactly, but I have a thought. You talked earlier about the drop of oil, the photograph of the drop of oil, and the photograph, or we could use on the other side, like Hubble telescope images of these vast things in high definition. What we see every day is as impressive as those things, but we're numb to them because we see them all the time. And if we were to look at drops of oil every day in a microscope, a month from now, we would not find wonder in that image. So sometimes it's the novelty of not seeing it from that perspective before that's really thrilling. I could imagine, and this probably relates to the Rothko idea, that you could see something from a particular angle and have this magical experience, and then walk 3 feet to the side and see it from a different way, and it just evaporates. It only works. It only triggers this thing in us when we look at it just the right way. There was an experiment I just heard about the other day that sounds fascinating, that a painting teacher recommended, where instead of painting, having a model in the room and painting the model, that you have the model in the next room. And you go into the next room without your equipment. You don't have your equipment. And you can study the model for as long as you want. And then you go into a different room where you can't see the model and paint the model. And it changes your relationship, where we're not just painting the lines. We're painting what is interesting enough about what I saw. What are the data points that stuck in my mind? And when I string those together, what do I get? And how do I form it to get as close to whatever the experience of that person was, which the closest of getting to the experience of that person in the painting might not look like a photograph. It might look more different than more the same to really see what you see. If we think about the Picasso paintings that were inspired by African art, where the eyes are on different levels, they may give us more information than a photograph would give us. I'm thinking about when you were describing the sensation of when something takes your breath away, and we all have that when we see a dramatic sunset. Anyone when there's a really dramatic sunset, or if there's a whale, and if anyone's on the beach and there's a whale, everybody's really interested that there's a whale. Do you know what I'm saying? These feelings of wonder, we get to experience them depending on where we are, or, a dragonfly, or a bird flies into your space. These things happen. And when they happen, it's like we're confronted with the mystery of the world when we change the perspective. Normally, we don't think of whales in our backyard or birds in our house, flying freely. But they do happen. These things do happen. And they like break us out of our trance when these things happen. It's like, oh yeah, there are birds like this everywhere. I'm just not paying attention. This guy's coming in to like tap me on the shoulder. It's like, remember me? Here I am.